I made a few videos before about my mom's Agatha Christie collection of books that she had when I was growing up, and how I went to take her to see Murder on the Orient Express and Death on the Nile, and how I worked my way backwards and forwards through all the film versions and books and what have you of those. Well, this is a follow up to all that. You see, after we went to go see those movies, my mom bought me an audiobook of Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. Now, this doesn't have Poirot or Miss Marple. It's just a standalone story on its own, and I really liked it. So, I bought the original paperback version that my mom had while I was growing up, and I bought every version of it on film. There was a traditional American children's rhyming poem called 10 Little Indians that I had on this record album growing up. Now, in 1868, a man named Septimus Winter adapted this as a song for a minstrel show, and he called it 10 Little Injuns. Now, the following year, in 1869, a man named Frank J. Green adapted it again into another song with all different lyrics, and he titled this 10 Little, and it's a racist word starting with the letter N. Now, this is the version that Agatha Christie used to write her book about. And in 1939, she published it for the first time in the UK under that name that is considered racist here in America. Now, she described it as her most difficult book to write, and it is the highest selling, most successful crime or mystery novel of all time, and it is the sixth highest selling book of any kind of all time. The first time it was adapted for film was in 1945. It's titled And Then There Were None. Now, this has 100% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It also won the Golden Leopard Award and the Best Direction Award. And 20 years later, it was adapted again for this film in 1965 called 10 Little Indians, where they moved the story setting from a remote island location to an isolated, snowy mountaintop. Now, this one stars Hugh O'Brian, who happens to be the last man ever killed on film by John Wayne and Bruce Lee. And it also stars Shirley Eaton, who was the woman painted in gold in the James Bond movie Goldfinger. And the voice of Mr. Unknown was played by an uncredited Christopher Lee, who was also in a James Bond film, Man with the Golden Gun, where he played Scaramanga. And then came the 1974 film adaptation called 10 Little Indians. This time they moved the story location to an abandoned hotel in an Iranian desert. This one stars Oliver Reed from The Three Musketeers and Gladiator, and Richard Attenborough from Jurassic Park. But it also stars Adolfo Chailly, who played the head of Spectre in James Bond Thunderball, and Gert Frobe, Goldfinger himself. And this time the voice of Mr. Unknown is played by Orson Welles. Then came the 1989 film version called 10 Little Indians, and they moved the story location again, this time to an African safari. This one stars Donald Pleasance, who played Blofeld in James Bond You Only Live Twice, and Frank Stallone. And then came the 2015 three-part television version for the BBC. This is called And Then There Were None, and it was the first English-language visual adaptation of the novel's original ending. Now, this one stars Charles Dance from Game of Thrones and Sam Neill from Jurassic Park. Has lots of bonus interviews and behind-the-scenes stuff. It's the most in-depth look into this story. It's the most depressing. I think this would be my mom's favorite version if she were to watch any of these. I really like it. I like all of them. I think my favorite one, though, is the one from 1974. In 2005, there was a new version of the play written to restore that original ending from the novel, and it was retitled 10 Little Soldiers due to the term Indian being deemed culturally insensitive now. And then a few weeks back, my girlfriend told me that it's playing at our local Florida Repertory Theater and I should take my mom. So, I bought 2 tickets and we went. Now, I really soaked in the experience because, well, it's been 6 years since I've been on stage myself or seen a play, and I was overwhelmed with the feeling of just wanting to be a part of it, wanting to be up there and performing. The actors looked larger than life. I love the costumes, the way they blocked their scenes. I miss all of that. Well, a week later, my girlfriend and I went on the Murder Mystery Dinner Train, where a murder mystery was performed by actors right in front of us on a moving train while we ate dinner. It was like being part of a real-life Murder on the Orient Express. And it's been recently announced that Kenneth Branagh will direct and star in a third Poirot film. This one's titled A Haunting in Venice, and it's based on Agatha Christie's Halloween Party. It'll be out later this year. So I really hope that when the time comes, my mom and I go to see that together. You know, my mom regrets not having her personal collection of Agatha Christie books anymore. But we all lose the things that we hold most dear. And maybe when we ourselves are gone, this video will live on and possibly inspire someone else to explore the things that have a personal interest to them. Now let me give you a little bit of behind-the-scenes info. Partway through making this video, my daughter came over, and I took a 12-hour break. In the meantime, my daughter gave me a gift. You see, earlier this year, I got into collecting and making puzzles. I made some 500-piece, 1,000-piece puzzle. I have a 2,000-piece puzzle I haven't attempted yet. My daughter just brought me a 3,000-piece puzzle in this huge box. It is Spider-Man and all of his rogues, but guess who they included? Did you guess it? Stegron. You know how obsessed I am with Stegron. This is the best. So, until next time. 1 little 2